Welcome to Inflight Aviation. We'll be taking you inside the cockpit with captains, aviators, and alumni while flying over beautiful Miami and Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Learn how they got started, where they are now, and their advice for aspiring aviators.
So let's do a little intro kind of thing. Oh no!
What?
It's gone.
Oh no.
Damn. Well, it died doing what it was meant to do.
Yeah.
But I don't think I downloaded the video.
Uh-oh.
Bye, GoPro Max.
That's so sad. That was a good one.
Work expense.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sad. Yeah. A bookend. The first time you used it was when we went on the aeroshell ride. Right?
That was a different one that I lost. That was the other one that I lost. The work expense.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Insight Aviation Podcast, which today gets rechristened as the Inflight Aviation Podcast. I have probably my favorite guest now of the podcast, Miss Katie Koch, who I've had the pleasure of knowing now for more than 10 years. Started at the Wayman Pilot Supplies at Opelika. Now runs that, but also runs like the business side of maintenance, runs procurement, and is co-lead with me on the student leaders and a 99s chair, and there's probably more titles that I'm missing, but you do so much. And you're also like everyone's favorite person. Like whenever I go, they're like, oh, the blonde lady at the pilot shop. Like, yes, that's Katie. She's like, she's awesome. So, would you like to introduce yourself?
Right. Yeah, so I think that was a pretty good introduction. I started working in the pilot shop about 8.5 years ago as kind of a part-time job, a way to get out of the house. And I got into flying kind of young. I just always really loved the sky and clouds and everything having to do with airplanes, right? My dad raised me a little differently than most girls are raised. He was a little ahead of his time with not raising me with gender, which is kind of interesting as a social experiment. Good job, Dad.
Raising you without gender? So what does that mean? Like no pink, no blue?
No, just whenever there were things to do, it wasn't like, oh, these are girl things, these are boy things. Like when he had to take out the garbage, I took out the garbage with him. It wasn't, sure. That was Dad's job and this is Mom's job and that sort of thing.
I'll fly while you talk.
All right, your controls.
My controls.
Your controls.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's I love to start there. Where are you from originally?
So I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, which is upstate New York on Lake Erie. Most people know it as being near Niagara Falls.
Yeah, it's beautiful up there.
Yeah.
In the summer.
In the summer, specifically in the summer.
It's still beautiful, I'm sure, in the winter, but it's a different kind of beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's definitely lots and lots of snow. But one of the nice things about that is it's kind of just like here in Florida, where in the summer months we want to stay in the air conditioning the whole time. But in Buffalo, you want to stay in the heat during the winter time. So it's just kind of opposite. But that also means that general aviation is really only doing stuff, in the summer.
Alright, that's me trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, alright. Excellent. Oh, we skipped. Tell us about this beautiful airplane. We're flying.
Yes, so we're flying November 6288 Whiskey, and I had an opportunity to buy her from the estate of her previous owner. He unfortunately had diabetes and lost the use of his legs.
Oh, that's nice.
So he was in a wheelchair for about the last 10 years of his life. So this airplane sat for about 10 years. And one of the local pilots, Mary Maddox, who everyone knows as Willie, she is a nurse. And so she used to take him flying so that he could still, experience his aircraft, even so he wasn't able to use his legs. She would help him fly the airplane, and she's the reason that we found out about this particular one.
Amazing.
But I went through a pretty extensive restoration to get it back in the air.
What year was that? You bought
So
it?
I bought it in 2007, and we finished the restoration in 2009. And then, of course, by the time we finished the restoration, I was on to other things and wasn't able to really fly her, but I brought her down here to South Florida in the hopes that I would fly her soon.
Oh, so you purchased her in New York?
Yes.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Because when I met you, you already had her.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
But we brought her down here, and actually the place where we landed was Opelika.
Opelika was terrible back then. It was basically a
Yeah.
junkyard. It was the junkyard for South Florida.
Right.
And everything, all the airplanes went there to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so Wayman Aviation's been at Opelika since 1987, building 209. Well, before that we were in the barracks, but you met us in building 209.
Right.
And I grew up in that building. Yeah. That's cool.
I basically went to an EAA meeting, and all the guys there were like, "You need to be at North Perry." So
That works. That'll do it.
yeah, I got the airplane up here.
This has been like your project now for 8 years.
Exactly.
Right? And
Yeah.
you finally got it airworthy beginning of this year?
Yeah, about February.
February. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I remember you working on the interior. Like you were doing it yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like everything you see here in the back, that's all me. I still have to do this one little piece right here.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Yeah. All right. Excellent. Excellent.
I just got the brow, but I didn't install it yet.
Sure, sure. Well, I love that. The plane is beautiful. It's flying amazingly well. You know, kudos to Wilfredo, who did a lot of work with you, and Ellis, I think, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mostly Wilfredo. I have to say, you know, after working a 12 or 13-hour day, he would come over to my hangar and help me, you know,
That's awesome.
with more. So he's
Wilfredo's
amazing.
the best. Happy
He
birthday,
really is.
Wilfredo.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Birthday. Aviation's a winding path, and people come across aviation in many different ways, and the way that they do their training is really interesting. So we synced up because we're about a year apart,
Right.
age-wise, and we both learned how to fly when we were young, like 17, 18, right? And then basically didn't fly for 15, 20 years, right?
Right.
And then we both kind of got on each other's case, went to the same instrument ground school, and still didn't fly for like another year after that. But I loved how you came about your initial flight training. Tell us
Right.
about that.
So, just a little segue before I get into that.
Sure.
So when I was about 8 or 9 years old, I won a free flight.
Like a discovery flight?
Yeah, like a discovery flight, but it was a free flight from one of the EAA guys. And he had given it in a charity auction. His name's Tom Rosansky, and fortunately he's no longer with us, but
Oh,
he had a
thank you,
rag and
Tom.
tube airplane, and it was tandem. And
What
this
was
is, it's a rag and tube.
Rag and tube.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Oh, it's an Aranca.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Just the type, or you know, the construction of the plane is basically
Rag and tube.
tubes, and then they put cloth over it.
Okay,
So they call
okay.
it rag and tube. And so he named it the rag bag. So my very first flight was in the rag bag with Tom, and he took me up, and of course I fell in love. That's usually what happens, right? And then he ended up taking my mom and my dad up as well.
Oh, wow.
And he
Good job.
convinced them, because my mom loves to go camping, and so when he found out about that, he said, "You guys have to go to Oshkosh."
Ah,
So literally that summer we went to Oshkosh, and it was completely life-changing. You know,
Oshkosh is amazing.
it is.
How old are you then?
I was about 9 years old.
It is, for those that don't know, it's the world's largest air show, largest fly-in, the largest fly-in in North America for sure. It's a week-long festival. They say it's like Woodstock for pilots, right? Everyone camps out and checks out airplanes, new ones, old ones, air show every day. That's amazing. Before we get off that, how many Oshkoshes have you done now?
Probably 4, maybe 5.
All right, excellent. I've only done one. I want to go back this year. All right, so 15.
Yeah. So when I was 15, my dad came to me. He's like, "You have a really big birthday coming up. You know, 16 is when you can when you can drive in the state of New York. And so I'd like you to think about something really big to ask for your 16th birthday. And I found a flight school that was offering a scholarship.
Nice.
For private, and well, for private or solo or whatever you wanted to do. And so I applied, and I got the scholarship. And basically, I talked to the camp director, the head of the flight school, and he told me everything I would need, and he said, and you'll need to cover $300 for food. And I was like, perfect. That's my big ask. $300 for food.
Wow.
And
you basically got yourself your birthday present.
Yeah.
I wish that happened. I wish my kids were that smart.
And so I basically, when Dad asked me the next time, hey, did you think about what you want for your 16th birthday? I said, yeah, I found it, and I'm going to need $300. And he's like, $300? What kind of car is she going to buy for $300? Right? So,
a really nice bike.
Right. So, anyhow, he found out, and he talked to the head of the flight school also. And he's like, well, if that's what she wants, that's what she'll get then. We can do that. And anyhow, what we did is they basically would do 2 tours, one in the month of July, one in the month of August. And we would do somewhere between 2,500 and 3,500 mile tours. And so we're basically learning how to fly on the go. So we hopped from airport to airport, and we had, a general idea of where we wanted to go. But I went back when I was 16, and I did basically 1 month of that work study. And then when we weren't working in the night hours, we would have ground school, basically. And then we went on another trip, and at the end of it, I got my private pilots. So.
Excellent. All of that in the Colorado area? How far did you go?
Yeah, so we usually did the 4 corner states. So Colorado, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and usually we would stop over in Nevada at Las Vegas, because it was like our one splurge to go to a hotel. And
like you can do so much in Las Vegas when you're 17.
Not really.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Got to walk the strip. We got to fly into Las Vegas McCarran, which is Class
cool.
Bravo airspace. Yeah. I did that when I was 16.
Wow.
Pre-private, pre-solo. Got to fly into Las Vegas McCarran.
Wow.
And then next year I got to fly out of Las Vegas McCarran. And we were at Signature. And I just remember that they had like this crew lounge and popcorn machine, and they gave us candies. And it was like, yeah.
This series is brought to you by Wayman College of Aviation. Learn to fly with a safe, reliable, and professional academy located between Miami and Fort Lauderdale in sunny South Florida, USA. Enjoy the training and cosmopolitan life with Wayman's 40 aircraft, 6 airline partners, and state-of-the-art campus here to help you be the captain.
Yeah, this is
right.
pretty cool.
Flying a candy. Flying candy. All right, so you are now a private pilot licensed 17-year-old, right?
Right.
Did you keep it up going into college?
So I didn't.
No, me neither.
I went into college, and my freshman year was August 2001.
Ooh.
So guess what happened? 9/11.
No.
And
wait a second. Your freshman year was 2001?
Yes.
My freshman year was 2001. What year did you graduate college? Before?
So I left college in 2004.
Okay.
I went back
I remember
again later.
Yeah, I remember that. That was also my freshman year. I remember waking up that was my sophomore year. I am a little bit older. That was my sophomore year, because I remember waking up my sophomore roommates.
Yeah.
And being like, hey, you got to turn on the TV.
I applied to UND, and I got in with full scholarship.
Nice.
And then I applied to one other school that was like an experimental school at the time. Nothing to do with aviation, but that was engineering. And then I applied to University at Buffalo, and they also gave me a full scholarship, and I just had to pay for like room and board, that sort of thing.
So what did you decide on?
So I decided to go to UB.
All right, stay home. And
yeah.
You know, I recommend that for undergraduate, right? Like,
right.
Yeah, do it, save the room and board and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I did stay on campus.
Okay, that's good too.
But the
College
tuition was, you know, even if I didn't have full scholarship, it was pretty inexpensive. So anyway, I decided to go for University at Buffalo, and the mistake that my advisor made was he didn't understand the difference between aerospace engineering and aeronautical engineering. So I ended up going for aerospace engineering, which is basically, I found out later, what makes you, you know, an engineer for an aircraft or for systems, mostly systems. So designing hydraulic systems for airplanes, designing, you know, components, landing systems, all that kind of stuff. So it was really, really heavy engineering. And UB was a top 3 school for that, for aerospace engineering. So it sounded good, but when I got into it, I remember being in my 2nd semester, and I went to the advisor like, well, when am I going to start instrument? And he was like, what are you talking about? You know, we don't have any flying here.
Hey, quick note here.
Go ahead.
This guy is same speed, just above us. I think we should do like a 360 for spacing.
Sure.
And we'll have a good conversation, right?
Yeah, sounds
so
good.
I'm going to do a 360 to the right.
All right.
All right, so college, fast forward.
Yeah.
Why? So you stuck with it?
No, I
No.
didn't stick with it. But a couple years later, the camp advisor got back to me and was like, I think you should come with us for another tour.
All right.
And so I ended up doing 2 more tours for time building.
Nice.
And you know, the experience that you get out there, it's like real world flying. You know, you're not doing traditional flight school where it's to and from the same, you know, spoke, so to
Sure.
speak. You're actually doing, you know, a real trip. And then by the time I was a private pilot, I'd already landed in 156 airports
Wow.
in 16 states.
Excellent. Wow, that's a heck of a training.
Yeah.
All right, so you did that basically like every summer through your college?
I did it for 2 summers during college,
Okay.
including the last summer of college. So I made a decision to not continue with aerospace engineering.
Yeah.
And mainly because at the time, all the Detroit layoffs had just happened.
Oh.
And so the market was completely flooded with engineers. And, you know, your top student in school was getting a job offer for like $30,000 a year. And that's a lot of work, a lot of responsibility for not being able to pay back your student loans.
Yeah.
I ended up getting my my degrees in international business and trade. And
that was down here, right?
that was down here at FIU.
FIU, the Panthers.
Yes.
All right.
Do your buttons.
What
The
precipitated-
button
Did
things.
you move down here for FIU? What else? What lured you
No.
to South Florida?
So my grandparents lived in West Palm Beach.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And basically my grandmother's husband had Alzheimer's. And it was getting to the point where they were going to the emergency room multiple times a month. She couldn't go grocery shopping because she would lose him. And then it was like,
Oh no.
you know, 3-4 hours of desperation trying to find out where he was. So I was at this point where I was going to be pivoting and she needed help.
Sure.
And so it kind of gave me an excuse to have a little reset in my
Yeah.
life.
Take a gap year.
Exactly.
Oh.
So I came down here to help them out, essentially.
You're such a good granddaughter.
She's a really amazing grandmother.
Awesome.
So, I ended up getting into the car business.
Right.
I worked at Bremen up in West Palm Beach.
Didn't enjoy the car business, and you walked into our store?
Yeah, so I was actually at a 99s meeting.
Oh, the 99s. I
Yeah,
get
the 99s. So I had been out of aviation for a while, but a friend of my husband's, he met this great lady in the 99s down here, and he's like, "You need to meet her."
Well, then,
Myra Bugsby.
yeah, Myra's
Yeah.
Oh, Myra.
Yeah, the 99s is the international organization of female pilots, and there's about 7,000 worldwide. So there were a lot of groups like Quiet Birdmen, but they didn't allow women. So a bunch of women got together and they're like, we're going to make our own version of the Quiet Birdmen. And so they put a letter out to every certificated woman that they could figure out who they were, basically. And 99 of them got back and said, yes, we're interested. And actually, Amelia Earhart was the first president,
That's awesome.
which is pretty cool. And now we're 7,000 plus worldwide. So there's lots of chapters. But yeah, when I first got into the 99s down here, it was mostly older, but actually it was Jen who was the spark for the younger crowd.
Yeah? Oh, Jen's
so
awesome.
Jen
Jen
Toplak
Toplak.
with Dare to Fly.
Dare to Fly, we'll link him in the bottom. She's doing awesome.
And so when Jen became president of or chairperson of our local chapter, which is the Florida Gold Coast 99s, she asked me to be her chairperson. And the intent behind it was, let's get more younger women involved. And because, the future of the 99s depends on membership, and we need to keep it going.
Just in general, the pilot population is aging. The big boom of pilots was 50s and then 60s, 70s, Vietnam pilots. That was the boom. The number of pilots throughout the country is declining.
Right.
We're I think the height was 700,000 certificated pilots, and now we're around 380.
Right.
So there's almost half as many pilots as there were in the 70s.
Yeah.
And so naturally, all those groups, the men's and the women's and everything else, they're all aging.
Right.
So I'm lucky to be attend a few of those, the Latino Pilot Association, and OPAP, Organization for Black Aerospace Professionals, and a few others. And yeah, there's a lot of gray hair.
Right.
and I'm really happy to see a younger generation stepping in, and before we lose those traditions and that history.
I'm very driven when it comes to diversity.
Good.
That's one of my favorite things about Wayman is our diversity.
Well, we can't help it. We're in Miami. It's diverse by default.
Yeah. But I think it's also diverse by plan.
Well, yes, we embrace it.
Yeah.
We embrace it. And I really have to give credit to Rosa, being my sister, really, previously co-owner and now still very much in charge of our registrar and everything. She always wanted to see lots of women in the school.
Right.
And I think has been a good mentor for a lot of women too.
Absolutely.
In her own way.
Yeah.
We're getting into our airspace now, so if you had to shout out somebody other than 99s, they got a great shout out. Anything you would shout out?
So come to the Air Expo Friday and
Well, we do have
Saturday.
an Air Expo. I don't think this podcast will be out after the South Florida Air Expo.
All right. Well, come to North Perry Airport Community Association November.
Oh yeah, November 4th. We're gonna have the North Perry Airport Day. A little shout out to our main sponsor, Wayman Aviation Academy, which is located in South Florida. It is an international and local now aviation college, which does both vocational programs, through to your commercial certificates, as well as an associate's in aeronautical science degree. Super proud of that. And we're here in South Florida 35 years. If you want to get a higher education, learn to fly with Wayman Aviation. Now offering visas for international students and full 100% Sallie Mae financing for all of our local students. All right.
If you are an aircraft owner and you would like to have your annual done, pitot-static system check, any of that kind of stuff, we can help you at Wayman as well.
Absolutely. And visit the pilot shop.
Yeah.
Visit the pilot shop at North Perry Airport.
Pilot shop.
You might find Katie.
Yeah, and everybody that works in our pilot shop is a pilot, so we know
Absolutely.
what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Katie, thank you so much for giving me a slice of your morning, this beautiful morning here over South Florida, flying to Everglades in your Piper. You want to take over the controls and take us in?
My controls.
Your controls. Thanks everyone for joining us.